My husband froze my credit card while I was driving my daughter home, and his voice was so calm you would think he was reminding me to pick up milk. "I locked your card," he said. Before I could answer, his mother grabbed the phone and told me I would ask permission before spending another dollar. I did not scream. I did not cry. I hung up, drove straight to my bank, and by that evening, everything they thought they controlled was already gone. My name is Rachel Bennett, and for 18 years, everyone believed I was the quiet one, the wife who never fought back. Daniel and I built our life from nothing. Him with one truck and a construction dream, me becoming a CPA who quietly earned far more than anyone realized, including my own husband. Money was never a competition to me. It was just a tool to protect our two kids, Sophie and Lucas, and give them a future without fear. Everything changed after Daniel's father died and his mother, Margaret, moved in with us. At first she was warm, grateful, helpful. Slowly, she became something else. Small comments about my grocery bags turned into criticism of every purchase I made. A birthday dress for Sophie became evidence against me. A candle became a lecture on wasting money. Whenever I told Daniel his mother had crossed a line, he always said the same thing. "She means well, just ignore it." So I did, again and again, until ignoring it became a habit that cost me my voice in my own marriage. One evening I overheard them talking in the kitchen. Margaret told Daniel a man who does not control the money eventually loses control of his family. I stood frozen in the garage, praying he would defend me. Instead, he said, "Maybe you are right." Something in me broke that night, quietly, without a sound. Meanwhile, I kept holding our family together behind the scenes, covering slow business seasons with my own investment money, paying off a tax mistake with my own savings, never once asking for credit. Daniel never knew. He simply assumed things always worked out. Then came the laptop. Our son Lucas needed a new one for school, so I bought it without a second thought. Margaret saw the receipt before Daniel did, and by the next afternoon, they had decided together to teach me a lesson. Freezing that card was supposed to remind me who was in charge. What they never understood was that I was never the one who needed reminding. I was the foundation of that entire household, and I had just decided it was time to protect it. At the bank, I separated everything. My paycheck, my savings, my inheritance, the transfers that had quietly saved Daniel's business more than once. 2 hours later, my phone showed over 20 missed calls. I drove home in silence. By the time I walked through the door, payroll had failed. The mortgage was pending, and Daniel came home pale and terrified, asking what I had done. I looked at him and said simply, "I protected what belongs to me." That night, I brought down 18 years of paperwork. Every folder labeled and organized, proof of every sacrifice I had made, without ever asking for recognition. Daniel read through it in silence, his hands shaking. Our kids walked in and saw everything, and Sophie, only 16, told her grandmother this had become their business the moment she started treating their mother like she could not think for herself. Lucas admitted he had felt guilty for weeks, believing his laptop had gotten me in trouble. Watching his own children carry that guilt broke Daniel more than anything I could have said. The apologies came slowly, first from Daniel, then from Margaret, who finally admitted her grief over losing her husband had turned into fear of losing her son. And that fear had turned into control. I told them both plainly that if we were moving forward, things had to change. One shared budget, separate personal accounts, no more decisions made for us. Margaret did not argue. She simply accepted it, and that told me more than any apology could. Daniel booked us our first counseling session without me asking. Slowly, painfully, honestly, we rebuilt what had quietly crumbled. Sunday nights became budget nights, not out of obligation, but out of respect. Margaret found her own purpose volunteering at a senior center instead of inserting herself into our marriage. A year later, on our anniversary, Daniel slid a small envelope across the table. Inside was a new credit card. "Not because I needed one," he said, "but because this one is about trust, not spending." People ask if I regret that drive to the bank. I never do. I did not go there for revenge. I went there for my dignity. And there is a difference between the two. Revenge fades. Self-respect changes the rest of your life. If there is one thing I want you to remember, it is this: never confuse love with control, never mistake silence for peace, and never underestimate the quiet strength of someone who has spent years holding a family together without ever once raising their voice.